What an astounding surprise it is to find you here in the attic, in the Mask Fan attic. Wow, I'm so surprised. Look how surprised I am. All right, as long as you're up here, welcome back to the Mask Fan attic, by the way. As long as you're up here, would you like a cookie? I just found some cookies up here. Let's just see, we have spider tarts. Would you like one of those? Would you? No? Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, these are good. These are the best ones, I think. The eyeball cookies. Yeah. Would you like an eyeball? There's plenty. Look, there's several. There's chocolate or white eyeball cookies. You sure? You don't? You sure? You know nothing. And look at this. It's the old family sugar cookie that's been handed down through generations because none of us could eat it. But more on that later. By which I mean, forget about that. Tonight in the Mask Fan attic, a mask from back in the mid-'80s, and I don't often do this, and I promise I'm not going to start doing it, but this is one that I made, and the reason I'm talking about it this time is because a couple of people have asked, you know who you are, why don't you ever talk about blah, blah, blah? So, okay, here it is. Here, all right, yeah. This particular mask sculpted by me when I was new at this stuff, 1985, and what is it? Well, it's Skroovius. That's S-K-R-O-O-V-I-U-S. Skroovius. What the heck is a Skroovius, you may ask? And yes, he does have a rubber spider hanging from a string on the end of his hat. Skroovius is a cartoon character made up by me when I was a little kid. And I don't know exactly where he came from or exactly what I was thinking of, but people who know me and who like went to school with me or whatever back in the Mesozoic era will remember this character, and I was always drawing little Skrooviuses, little cartoons of him, and I had little, I wrote little funny stories and situations and little jokes for him and his monster friends who lived in a castle of monsters. And well, he was a sorcerer, a magician, a wizard kind of guy, and eventually it seemed like once I'd kind of started doing the mask thing a million years later when I was an adult, it seemed like I ought to do a Skroovius at some point. So yeah, 1985, there was I sculpted a Skroovius, and yes, it's kind of crude, but it's hard to get something that's kind of goofy looking on a two-dimensional cartoon page to work well as a three-dimensional mask. But I gave it my best shot, and I think really, considering all things considered, I didn't do that bad of a job. I can see now that it wasn't a great idea to trim the mouth quite the way I did, but still, pretty good thing. And I made a number of Skrooviuses. I would say maybe 20 altogether in the universe. Probably made like 20 of these masks. Laura made the fabric hoods for them, and the mask is, let me just show you here, some stuffing in there. The mask is like the style of a be-something mask. It's just a latex half mask with a fabric fur hood. Can you see that business there going on with it? Yeah, you get the idea. And then there's an elastic strap to hold the face in place, and then you pull the hood down, you see. And well, that's just how I did it, because it didn't seem necessary for Skroovius to have a back of the head because he wears a hood all the time in the comics that I would draw. So this was good enough, to just do the face mask with the hood in the manner of the many hooded skull masks and fang face masks and lots of other cool masks that were being made at the time. The traditional copies, that is the standardized ones that people bought, the other 19 or so that I spoke of earlier, just had a normal hood. They didn't all have this great big extra pointy, but in the cartoons, that's how I drew him. So, we wanted to make one like that with the big goofy hood with the spider dangling from it. We did in fact put spiders on some of them. I don't know how many, but some of the masks that I sold of old Skroovius actually had the spider hanging from the tip of his hat. Again, just something I used to draw in my cartoons. Now, I can show you. I mentioned I was always drawing Skroovius on things when I was a kid, and I wrote little stories about him and all that. He was the star of my own comic book, Hassle Castle, which there were about, I think I did about 40 issues of it. It was only me, never any input from anybody else. It was all written and illustrated by me. And you see this jacket I have right here. Laura had this made for me as, I believe it was a Valentine's Day present, like a million years ago. many years ago, and it's a Hassel Castle on the back, and as you can see, it's got a little embroidered Skroovius right there on the front. And you're probably wondering why I didn't plan this a little better to show you what it looked like. Well, I don't know, but there. Can you see that? You get the idea? Yeah, there's what he basically looked like, and she had that made from one of my drawings, you see. And anyway, I drew Skroovius on lots of things when I was a kid, and I'm not sure exactly what he was, but I do remember when I was a very little kid, I had some Halloween stickers, and one of them was a skeleton in a an orange hood, reddish orange hood, like a coat with short sleeves and a hood. And as a little kid, I thought that was cool. So I know that's where I got. It's handy when there are sharp nails sticking out of everything in your room, by the way. Look how easy it is to just put things away. And anyway, I know that's where I got the idea for the coat that Skroovius wore that had a hood and short sleeves, was because I had a sticker of a skeleton wearing that, and I just liked the look of it. Now, why did I stop making Skroovius masks after 20 or so? Well, for one thing, nobody knows who he is. It's not like it's going to be a big, you know, big in-demand character. It's not exactly SpongeBob. It's just something I did, and I made the comic books, and nobody knows who he is. But I made a few masks because I thought maybe somebody would like a kind of goofy-looking, you know, kind of funny but kind of spooky, kind of weird character mask. Then, years later, in Hollywood, the sad decision was made to forever ruin the story of how the Grinch stole Christmas by coming out with a Jim Carrey movie of it that managed to overthink it and misinterpret it at the same time. Did not like that movie at all. Hated that movie. And someone at one point said when they saw my Skroovius mask, "Oh, is that the Grinch?" And I thought, oh, I'm just going to have to put it away. I'm going to have to not do Skroovius anymore, because humans are going to think it's a really poor job of the Grinch. And honestly, it doesn't look like the Grinch, as you can see, but in the public mind, not the mind of the horror fans and the mask collectors and the cartoon watchers, but just the general masses, people will think pointy red hat, green face, big mean smile, oh, it's the Grinch, even though that's all it has in common. But when I made up the character when I was a little kid, it was before I'd ever heard of the Grinch, and there was no resemblance. And of course, he wore the red hood just because I thought it was cool and creepy looking if he wore a red hood and a red outfit. But I stopped doing him because of that movie, because I just would hate to have to hear people saying, "Oh, is that mask supposed to be the Grinch?" Oh, so no more Skroovius. I could bring him back. I could do orange hoods maybe instead of red. Maybe that would do it. But even then, you know, people have like a dim recognition factor that's only partially working, and they would still maybe think, oh, cartoon character who's green and has a big kind of a mean smile must be a not very good interpretation of the Grinch. Made me very sad, but that's why there aren't more Skrooviuses, and that's why I don't offer them today. Although I suppose if somebody wanted one, I could make them one, because I do still have the mold, and I see now it's a good thing I kept it all these years, because I can see mine from 1985 is starting to deteriorate a little bit. Just a little cracking here and there. Not bad for something that old, made by me back when I didn't know anything, even compared to how little I know now. I knew even less back when this was made. And I do have a full costume for him too that Laura made me, a one-off costume. So if I ever do want to dress up as Skroovius, I can do it. I just stopped doing it because that Grinch movie kind of ruined the look of this character. And well, like I said, maybe if he had a different colored hood and coat, maybe he could still be workable. But anyway, speaking of Christmas, as Christmas draws near, and I know Christmas is drawing near, I can tell from even up here in the attic, because there's just something in the air. That something is snow, because the roof's leaking. There's a little bit of snow coming into the attic, so that's how I can tell Christmas time is coming, you see. But speaking of Christmas, I know that the prevailing zeitgeist is such that we're supposed to be all too cool for school, and everybody has to be too cool to enjoy anything and too cool to like anything, and you're just supposed to be completely cynical and jaded and negative and downbeat and bitter about everything because that's what's considered cool right now. But when it comes to Christmas, I know you're supposed to go, oh, the commercialization, I shun that, and complain about it. And yes, it is grossly over commercialized, but the thing is, Christmas is still a great holiday. You know me and how I live and where I live, and I love Christmas. And well, if you don't, I'm sorry for you, and I hope that you can somehow and someday have a nice Christmas anyway and see it for what it really is, which is a wonderful time for people to think about other people. And yes, it's too commercial, but at least at Christmas time, the aggressive, intelligence insulting advertisers are at least trying to get us to think about buying something for other people as a gift instead of trying to get us to buy things for ourselves. So that's a step in the right direction, and really any occasion that gives you an excuse to give somebody a present or just a kind word or anything, you know, anything that is outgoing, anything that gives to the human society instead of just taking, that's a good holiday, wherever you stand on the religious side of it. Any holiday that encourages you to buy gifts for your friends and loved ones can't be a bad thing, no matter what they try to do to it in the advertising world. All right, and you know, if I think it doesn't matter that it costs money. The money is not important. What matters with a good present is I try to give people something that is personal to them, and I think that's the important thing that people need to remember, and not worry about what things cost or where they come from or even so much what they are as what they mean. Because if you give somebody a nice gift and it has anything to do with them, it fits with who they are and the things they like, they know that you have at least been paying attention and you've been thinking about them and that you care about them, and that's really something you can't put a price on, I think. So you know, don't worry about how much you spend on Christmas. Worry about being nice. All right, be nice to people, because all those people that you do like and you do care about, they're not going to be there forever. You know, they have their lonely periods, and they have their futures coming where they're going to be eaten by zombies or monsters or killed by Jason or something horrible like that. So especially if they come up here to the attic. So be nice to them while they're still alive, won't you? And let them know that you care. And another nice thing about Christmas gift giving, by the way, is that it's a good excuse to let somebody know that you do care about them and you are aware of them, because you give them a little something without having to sound all girly about it and actually, you know, verbally express affection or something. If you're not good at that, you can express it through some small token of your esteem and respect and appreciation for who they are and what they do. So don't be knocking Christmas. And I hope, my hope for you is that you have the best Christmas ever this year. And I really mean that. I do hope you have a great Christmas, and well, an even better one next year. And since it's starting to get even colder and the snow is starting to build up and stick to some of the masks and props up here, I'm going to go work on patching the roof. If I could just find that Scotch tape, I could get started.